He needed a mother for a morning. She offered a lifetime of love. Witness the extraordinary moment a whispered secret transformed a family, proving that true connection often arrives when you least expect it. What if the daughter you lost 16 years ago, the one you've searched for relentlessly, was right in front of you this whole time, and you never even recognized her? Mr. Daniel Vance never thought he'd be standing in a grocery store parking lot, staring helplessly at strangers passing by, trying to find one who might help him lie. But today was different. Today, he had run out of options. His 6-year-old daughter, Chloe, had been invited to a Moms and Muffins breakfast event at her school, a celebration meant for children and their mothers. The flyer said, "No dads allowed, only mothers or someone who could pretend to be one." Chloe hadn't said anything when Daniel read it aloud. She'd only smiled softly and said, "It's okay, Daddy. I'll just sit in the back and watch the others eat." Those words destroyed him. Chloe had never known her real mom. Sarah, Daniel's wife, had passed away during childbirth. For 6 years, he'd raised his daughter alone, working 2 jobs, sacrificing sleep, skipping meals so she could have enough. But there were things he couldn't give her, like the presence of a mother at a school event filled with hugs and laughter. So here he was, sweating nervously under the California sun, watching as a woman in her 20s with soft auburn hair and a denim jacket stepped out of the store, holding a carton of milk and some bread. Something about her made him speak. "Excuse me," he said, his voice cracking with nerves. "I know this will sound crazy, but would you pretend to be my wife for just one morning?" The woman froze, her eyes widened, and then narrowed. I'm sorry," she asked, taken aback. Daniel quickly raised his hands, trying to explain. "My daughter has this school event tomorrow morning. It's for kids and their moms. She doesn't have one, and I thought maybe, just maybe, someone kind might help. Just for an hour. No strings. I'll pay you if you want." There was a silence. People around them continued walking, unaware of the storm Daniel felt in his chest. The woman looked at him again, then down at Chloe, sitting in the car, humming softly to herself and playing with her doll. "What's her name?" she asked. "Chloe," Daniel replied. "She's 6. And your name?" "Daniel. Daniel Vance." She nodded. "I'm Eleanor." And then, surprisingly, she smiled. "I don't want your money, but I'll be there for Chloe tomorrow at 7:30, right?" Daniel stared at her, stunned. "You mean it?" Eleanor laughed. "Yeah, I mean it." And just like that, a stranger became part of a father's broken world. The next morning, Chloe wore her favorite yellow dress, the one with daisies on the hem. Her small fingers trembled as she waited on the front porch. She had no idea who Eleanor was, just that Daddy said someone very kind would be taking her to the event. At 7:25 sharp, a car pulled into their driveway. Eleanor stepped out, wearing a soft blue sweater and carrying a bouquet of pink carnations. "For you," she said, kneeling before Chloe. "I heard you like flowers." Chloe's face lit up. At the event, other mothers chatted in their cliques, sipping coffee and nibbling muffins. When Eleanor and Chloe walked in, heads turned. Some whispered, others smiled politely. But Eleanor didn't care. She laughed with Chloe, cut her muffin into bunny shapes, and even braided her hair right at the table. She didn't pretend, she was present, fully, sincerely. When a teacher asked Eleanor how long she and Daniel had been together, Eleanor smiled sweetly and said, 6 beautiful years. Later, Chloe sat on Eleanor's lap and asked in a whisper, "Why did you come?" Eleanor looked into her eyes, brushing a stray curl behind her ear. "Because someone very special needed me." That moment etched itself into Chloe's heart. But Daniel, watching from the hallway where he waited, not allowed inside, never forgot what happened next. As the event ended, Eleanor bent down to Chloe and whispered something Daniel couldn't hear. But he saw the tears form in Chloe's eyes, not of pain, but of healing. When they got home, Chloe ran to her room, humming louder than usual. Daniel turned to Eleanor, unsure what to say. "You saved her day," he murmured. You didn't have to do any of this. Eleanor smiled, but there was something unreadable in her eyes. Daniel, she said gently, what if I told you I didn't just do this for her? Daniel blinked. What do you mean? But Eleanor only gave a quiet smile and turned toward her car. And just like she arrived, she left. The days went by, and Daniel tried to move on. He focused on work, packed Chloe's lunchboxes, did the laundry, and stayed up reading bedtime stories. But Chloe kept asking, will Miss Eleanor visit again? He didn't know what to say. He had no number, no address, just a name and a moment. But that moment haunted him, the way Eleanor looked at Chloe, the warmth, the sincerity, the whisper. So one Saturday afternoon, Daniel drove Chloe to the store again, hoping, just maybe, lightning could strike twice. And somehow, as fate would have it, Eleanor was there again, this time looking at candles in aisle 5. She looked up and smiled as if she'd been waiting for them. Chloe ran to her, wrapping her small arms around her legs. Miss Eleanor. Daddy and I were talking about you. Eleanor knelt. I was hoping I'd see you again, sweetheart. Daniel stepped forward slowly. I never got to ask, what did you whisper to her that day? Eleanor stood up and looked at him seriously. Then she said, I told her that even if her real mom couldn't be there, it didn't mean her heart had to stay empty forever. That sometimes love finds us in the most unexpected places. Daniel's eyes welled up. Do you know what she said to me after? Eleanor added. What? She said, you smell like love. Daniel laughed through tears. They had coffee that day, then dinner a week later, and slowly, carefully, Eleanor became more than just a stranger who helped. She became Chloe's friend, then her bedtime storyteller, then the woman who showed up with soup when Chloe had the flu. Daniel kept waiting for the catch, for the other shoe to drop, but it never did. And one evening, months later, as the three of them sat watching old cartoons under a blanket, Chloe looked up and asked, Miss Eleanor, can I call you Mommy? Daniel froze. Eleanor turned to Chloe, her eyes soft, and said, only if I get to call you my sunshine. Daniel's heart broke open. That night, after Chloe had fallen asleep, Daniel walked Eleanor to her car. Why did you really do it? He asked again, back then in the parking lot. Eleanor hesitated. Because I knew what it felt like to sit alone at a school event and wish someone showed up for me. She swallowed hard. You didn't just give Chloe a gift that day, Daniel. You gave me one too. They stood in silence. Then Eleanor looked at him, her voice barely above a whisper. So maybe next time, you won't have to ask me to pretend. Daniel took her hand in his. Maybe I never wanted it to be pretend. And under that quiet California sky, a stranger who once said yes to a desperate request became a mother, a partner, and the missing piece in two lonely hearts. If this story warmed your heart, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Echoed Tales for more stories like this. Sometimes the people who walk into our lives unplanned are the ones who change everything.